Going. Okay. What is your name?
My name is Liz Castro.
And where were you born?
I was born in San Leandro, California.
And where do you live now?
I live in Gracia, in Barcelona, in Catalonia.
What do you do for a living?
Mostly I'm a computer book writer. I write books about how to create web pages and how to create ebooks lately. But I also have published books about Catalonia in English as a way to explain Catalonia to people who don't understand the language. And lately I also am a journalist working with VilaWeb, which is an online Catalan news site, and I coordinate the English edition of the newspaper.
Okay. How are you helping Catalonian independence? What have you done in the last few weeks?
What I do to help Catalonian independence is explain the situation to people who live abroad, who live in other places besides Catalonia. One of the paradoxes about the Catalan independence movement is that their language is very important to them, and so most of what's published about Catalonia is in Catalan. And so there's not a lot of information for people who don't understand the language. So I have taken it upon myself to be the movement's translator. Of course, there are many other people besides me, but I use Twitter to translate politicians' tweets and discussions that are going on in the community. I translate them into English. I publish books about Catalonia in English. I host Twitter chats with different Catalan personalities in English. And I coordinate this online news site in English as well. So, trying to get the story out.
Okay. What are you doing today, or what have you been doing today?
Today, this morning, I translated several articles for VilaWeb and published them on the website. This afternoon, I need to work on this ebook version of the series of Twitter chats called Catalan Talk. It's translated actually into 7 languages, but I'm especially working on the English edition. Last night, which is not exactly today, I did a presentation on the new country that we want, explaining what I hope to see in a new Catalan republic, along with a judge and another journalist who gave their visions. And I, talk to people as much as I can to explain the situation that Catalans want to vote, and they should be able to.
Okay. When did you first become involved in this movement, and why?
I think I first became involved in this movement the moment that I realized that Catalan was so significant. I've always been interested in languages. I'm not from Catalonia originally. My parents are not from here. In fact, my grandparents were from the south. My great-grandparents were from the south of Spain, from Andalusia. I always wanted to learn Spanish. I happened to bump into Catalan. And I spent a summer in Prada, in a thing called the Summer Catalan University, and really discovered that these people have this strong identity. They feel that they are a nation, and I was really impressed by it, and I just was so interested and wanted to learn more about them. And then I found that people outside of the Spanish state, outside of very close to here, they have no idea what these people are like, and I wanted to explain that. I felt that they had a right to tell their story, to be known, to have an identity in the world. So I think it was as soon as I knew them that I wanted to be involved in helping them.
Why is this movement so important? Why is Catalonian independence so important?
Catalonian independence is important because without it, they will disappear as a nation. They'll disappear as a people. Their language and their culture, like the language and culture of any people, is basic to their identity. Without English and without baseball, Americans would also disappear. So there's a concerted effort by the Spanish government to eliminate or lessen the use of the Catalan language, to reduce the number of classes in schools, the number of hours that are in the schools. There's a reform called the Wert reform, which looks to insist that Spanish be one of the vehicular languages in Catalonia, which is completely unnecessary. Right now, kids come out of school learning both Catalan and Spanish, and adding more Spanish to the education would mean that they would come out with more Spanish and less Catalan, which is not... and it would make it hard for people to have the same opportunities, to have... If there was one part of the community that only speaks Catalan, that only speaks Spanish, and another part that speaks Spanish and Catalan, that's not good for the community. It's better to have everybody speaking the same languages. So the Spanish government has shown repeatedly that they're not interested in Catalan language and culture. They teach more Catalan in Germany than they do in the rest of Spain. It's kind of disheartening. And it's not only language and culture, it's also about investment. There's high-speed rail that goes from Madrid to all of the capitals of each province, even not very populated ones. And yet the two major ports on the Mediterranean, Valencia and Barcelona, which are both Catalan-speaking, have no high-speed rail. There's no connection to Europe. It's a strategy that you think, when you look at a map, it's very clear that what Madrid wants is to have control, to have centralized control. Everything goes through Madrid. And that's detrimental to the Catalan people, to their welfare, to their culture. It's detrimental to their healthcare system, to their schools, because the money is going to Madrid instead of being used in a rational way. So without a Catalan state, Catalans can't control those things that have to do with their own culture and their own identity.
Okay. What's the best possible outcome of this movement?
The best possible outcome is that Catalan people be allowed to vote. It's an amazing movement. It's an incredible, peaceful, joyful. I participated in the Catalan Way, which was 2 million people, 1.6 million people. Nobody knows exactly how many, but across 400 kilometers, it's 250 miles from one end of Catalonia to the other, holding hands. And it was completely joyful and happy, and there's no burning trash cans, there's no rock throwing, there's no riot police, none of that. These people they're like, we want to vote, we believe in democracy, we have a right to say what the future of our country should be. So the best possible outcome is that they get the right to vote. It's completely basic democracy. It's very simple.
What is the worst possible outcome, or the outcome that you fear the most?
I think the outcome that I fear the most is that they not be allowed to vote, that they be allowed to vote and nobody listens, that they don't get the international recognition that they deserve. I think that would be a shame. It would be a travesty of democracy. If we really believe in democracy, then and in the United Nations Charter of Human Rights, it says that all peoples have a right to self-determination. That includes the Catalans. So if the Catalans vote for independence, the rest of the world, including our country, the United States, needs to recognize that.
Okay. People from all over the world may be seeing this video. What's the most important thing that they should know about what's happening here?
That's the most important thing that they should know. They should know that the Catalans are peaceful, democratic people. They should know that the Catalans are a generous people, and that this is not a movement that's born out of selfishness, out of not wanting to support poorer regions of Spain. So it's not about that. It's about, eyes are watering. It's about being able to determine one's own destiny, and I think that's something that people all over the world can identify with. Certainly we Americans, we're very identify with our own independence movement in 1776, where we said, we don't want some country 3,000 miles away telling us how we should, what laws we should have, and how we should distribute our resources. And we want to be able to decide for ourselves. It's a basic human right, and Catalans should also be able to have this right.